Hey guys, Sam Luce here with iZotope. Today I want to help you take your vocals to the next level using automation. Automation is a fundamental step in getting pro sounding vocals, and is one that beginners often miss or simply aren't aware of. So you can follow along with your copy of Nectar, Ozone and Neoverb, or get your free trials now at iZotope.com, and let's jump in. It's important that we define the concept of automation, specifically vocal automation. Automation is a process whereby you, the mixer, program a change or process you want the computer to undertake on your behalf. So if I want the vocal to go up 5 dB just before the chorus, I program that change in using my mouse, and the automation controls to program it. Now I've instructed my DAW to perform the change every time we get to this section in the song. In practicality, you want your automation to be very intentional and specific to a moment that you want to draw the listener's attention to. How you use automation is completely up to you, but now that you have a basic understanding of it, let me show you how you can deploy it in vocal mixing. One incredibly powerful way of using automation when mixing vocals is to automate parameters within plugins. You don't have to settle for just simple volume changes when using automation. You can be incredibly creative and really dig deep into the features of the plugins you have. By automating your plugins, especially effects plugins, you can almost play these effects like their own instrument and add a whole new dimension to areas of your track when there is a space that can be filled. Let's hear this vocal dry without any reverb. There's a lot of space there where we can add something using automation. Achieving this is simple and can be done in a bit more of a tactile way than simply drawing in automation lines. Here I'm using Neoverb, and I've used Reverb Assistant to easily apply a reverb sound that fits the track. I'm going to automate the send level going into the reverb so we have more signal going in on these last words. Then, using the node within Neoverb, my DAW is going to write the automation moves I make to the track and add some real colour and dimension to this section. I'm going to set my automation mode to latch and use my mouse in real time to make the change. Using the latch automation mode means that my DAW will write the automation that I perform to the parameters I'm affecting, and then stay at that point when I release the mouse. Let's take a listen to this section with the automated reverb and how it's added a great sense of space and movement to the vocal. We can add some interest and variation to a vocal by using delay throws. Now, delay throws are when we selectively apply a delay to specific words or phrases in a vocal, typically set to a longer note length, like a quarter note. In this instance, I'd like to add some interest to the last word of the phrase, the word fly, which works quite well to hear the word flying away from the listener. To achieve this, I've set up an instance of Nectar on a bus and will be automating the send going into that bus. By using automation here, I can make sure that only the last word is affected by the delay, not the rest of the vocal. The added bonus to setting Nectar up on a bus is that you then have full control over the delayed sound. You can add further processing to that delayed sound that won't affect the dry vocal. Here I've added a touch of Nectar's built-in reverb just to give the sound a bit more space and width. Let's check it out in the context of the track and hear what is added. Sticking with the delay automation, this is a great opportunity to demonstrate how you can automate pan in a mix. As mixers, we know that panning is amongst the first steps we take when mixing a track to achieve our initial balance. Panning instruments can help give them space to be heard, but it can also be a creative process to add even more interest to your vocal. Let's take that delay throw that we just created and pan alternate repeats hard left and right. Doing this is going to create even more space in your mix and add that extra layer of ear candy for your listeners. Now, if you're not already, you're going to want to grab some headphones or sit in front of some speakers to hear the full effect of this technique. Let's hear it first with the centrally pan delay, and then we'll hear it far left and right.
I wanna fly, I wanna die, I wanna fly, I wanna look.
One of the most enjoyable aspects of mixing for me is thinking outside the box, being creative and using plugins for things they're not typically designed to be used for. Let's take a look at using a plugin that's not necessarily designed for vocals and use it in a way that will turn a few heads. To me, Ozone's vintage tape module is a great way to warm up a master and add some subtle coloration. But if we push it to its limits, it can give us a fantastic driven sound just on the brink of distortion. I'm going to achieve this sound by stacking 3 instances of the module, the first 2 of which have the input drive all the way up to 30 dB and harmonics up to 10. The third and final instance has the drive up to 22.5 dB and the output gain reduced by 12 dB. Feeding these tape emulations into each other is going to give us a fantastically aggressive tone that will help certain words to stand out in the mix. And then we can counteract the extra level we have added by bringing down the output of the last instance. I've set my automation to bypass these plugins throughout the track, except for on the words that I want to affect. Check out how this adds some great coloration to the final words of the chorus and makes them stand out of the track. On this track, we've got some fantastic vocal harmonies tracked in the chorus and bridge sections. But sometimes as a mixer, you may feel there are times when another harmony that wasn't recorded would really benefit the track. In times like these, we can use Nectar's harmony module to bring up harmony lines on certain words or phrases using automation. In this instance, I'd like to bring up 2 harmonies on the final words of the first verse to add some lift going into the bridge. The first is a third above the original, and the second is a fourth below. By automating the wet level on Nectar's harmony module, we can achieve this easily. Check out how this helps the vocal rise into the next section. By fading this effect in, we're adding to that build. You can automate this effect however best fits your track, and you can also apply a curve to the fade to make it a bit more gentle. Now that you've mastered vocal automation, another key mixing technique you should be aware of is dynamic EQ. Fortunately, I've made a video for that as well, and you can check it out just down here. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.